I've been in such a reading slump that I have really not been prioritizing reading or wanting to prioritize reading, but I do think I'm on the other side of that. I do think I'm currently feeling the want to read, and so I feel like I'm going to jump on this feeling and I'm going to do a 24-hour readathon. Now we're doing this the most chill way that I possibly could. No timer counting down, no timer counting up, no like need to be reading at all points of the day and just be sleeping for like the smallest amount to keep reading. Instead, I have a stack of books. I want to read this stack of books. I'm going to try to read for 24 hours by just being like, hey, after dinner I'm gonna sit down and read. I'm probably gonna read till 10 o'clock. That's 5 hours of reading time. I'll pick up and do the rest, 9 hours on Saturday, 10 hours on Sunday, and be really flexible about it. I'm curious to see if I like this better, if it takes a lot of pressure off of reading for me, and if I really enjoy it. I think it could be something that happens more consistently. We're gonna have audiobooks, we're gonna do whatever we need to do to make this super chill but super productive at the same time, and we're gonna feel no pressure. I do have a TBR here. However, if I don't stick to this TBR, that's fine. We do not need to hold ourselves accountable to reading these exact books. I need to just hold myself accountable to having fun and enjoying what I'm reading. This is what said TBR looks like, and I literally just have my Kindle up here for all the options that I will find on KU, and because I know throughout this one of the major places that I do read is in the morning. I've been waking up around 6 and I've been reading till like 8:30 or 9 most mornings. So I will get a lot of reading done on my Kindle, but these are also ones that I'm really excited about. Darkwood's Guide to Dating and Other War Crimes. I was sent by the publisher and this just sounds like a lot of fun. It's kind of a wild card. I've just kind of been thinking that I really should try it recently. These ones, however, are all 5-star predictions that I really do want to get to. Beneath by Ariel Sullivan, Bloodbound by Ellis Hunter, and Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. I'm hoping I stick to this TBR because I am very excited to read these. And then I also have my Patreon just kind of like reading along with me. I told them I was just doing a super chill 24-hour readathon this weekend. If anyone wanted some accountability, I'd just be kind of like yapping and updating my progress in there. I feel like I've only done 48-hour readathons and it's like hard. I go hardcore for them. I have a lot of pressure to read a lot of books. And the idea with this one is if I only read Beneath, that's fine. It's going to be the only thing I read. And that is okay as long as I prioritized reading throughout the weekend. Have you ever picked up a book and gone, this is everything I could ever ask for? Have you ever gotten 44 pages into a book and been like, oh my God, this is incredible. I don't want to put it down. This is 5-star material? Because that is me currently with Beneath. Oh my God, I'm already loving this. And that's the perfect way to start out a 24-hour readathon because I know I'm going to just consistently want to pick it up. I'm only literally an hour in. And I'm like, how can I keep reading until this is done? And that's what I wanted. So this is the second time I've read from this author. She has a book called Conform, which is a dystopian romance. And this is also a dystopian romance, and it is the start of a prequel series. So she's published Conform, and then she published Beneath, and then later this year, the second book in the Conform series comes out, and I'm assuming they're gonna alternate and we're gonna get the second book of Beneath. Cannot tell you how much they like actually like interconnect or anything at this point. I just know this happens in the same world just a long time before we get Conform, and they feel very different at this point. I liked Conform, I enjoyed it, and I had a good time with it. I think I gave it 4 stars, but I will be shocked if Beneath isn't 5 stars just from the first 44 pages that I've read. This one we're following the remnants of humanity after nuclear war happened, and we've just been bombing, and up top is not great, and we live underground, which honestly is one of the things I really do enjoy when dystopian does, because I just think that it's very real to what could actually happen in our situation, sadly. But I loved the Silo series by Hugh Howey, which has like a same premise of them living underground. And this one does feel very different from that. Don't like do the comparison at all. It just is something I like, the underground thing. I liked the 100 also has the, instead of underground, we're in space and we come to Earth. I'm kind of going on a tangent though. But we follow our main character who has been living underground and she's just kind of existing. She knows that it's not looking great for them. Humanity is probably on its last stretch. There is a like health point system in here, which I think a lot of people got sick on the surface, and that's how a lot of people died. And so they try to get rid of anyone who's getting sick often very quickly because they don't want a sickness to spread underground. And she never gets sick. She's known as Death Angel because for some reason she can be around anyone and not get sick. And it's kind of this thing that she is known for. She was a medic for a bit, and now she's being forced into going on a mission to the upper level because of this part, because she can't get sick. So they're like, this would be very useful up above on our missions. We don't really know a lot about the above yet. We're just kind of meeting her new squad. And something I do love when books do is a pre-established found family. I have really liked being a brand new character who's entering into something new, but there's already a friend group. I think something about that just tends to work for me. I think there's like banter and stuff already in a friend group and tensions and like complex relationships, and it feels like that friend group existed before the book started, and that's something I enjoy. And so this squad has already been around, and she's actually secretly helped this squad a couple times as a medic underground, but now she's being forced to like join the team actually, and she doesn't want to do that because something happened with the squad and she hasn't talked to them for like 6 months, and it's this really like complicated situation already. I'm 44 pages in and I feel like so much has happened. I know so much about the world, I know so much about these characters, and on top of that there's like tension with the commander for sure, and there's gonna be a romance there. There's already a character I really like. I kind of like the humor in Patrick already. I think there's going to be a lot to love with this. I think if a book starts with a quote from 1984, you know it's going to be a good book, which is really funny because I haven't actually read 1984 and I need to read 1984. And also, oh my god, Frankie is the cutest thing right now. Let me take a picture. He looks so cute. I'm putting it up. Both my cats are just sleeping right now, but Frankie looks like a little human. Okay, but I feel like I'm just like buzzing right now, so I think I'm gonna go because I need to keep reading. I'm just like, oh my god, I want to know what's happening next. I want to hang out. I want to chill with these characters, and that's really exciting for me. Really exciting personally. I just gotta squeal about it a little bit. I feel like not a lot has happened, but also so much has happened in this book. I'm just under 50%, but they're going up to the surface. The secret mission is about to start. So much of this has just been like so important to character development, to setting the stakes. A lot of it feels like spoilers, so I just like don't have a lot to talk about, but my feeling so far is this is a 5-star. This could be the best book of the year. This has everything I've ever wanted in a book. It feels incredible. And I know the romance is with Tristan, but the second in command, he's a hottie. I want more of him, and every single second we get him, I'm like, I would not be mad if this was a bait and switch and we ended up getting a romance with you. But actually what I really want is just to build on this strong friendship, and I wouldn't mind seeing outside romances while we go through this journey of her and the commander getting together. I don't need it to be a bait and switch. Too many books do that these days. But there's such a strong found family in this, and I love it, and I feel like all the characters feel individual to me. Like I can make them all out. They all have points that feel like them. They have the way they talk, the way they do things, the way they handle things. There's like the comedic one. There's the one who's very like introspective and watching everything and tends to know things. There is the one who just like cares so much about everyone. There's the one that's got a more gruff exterior and is kind of putting on a front. Like each person feels like a real person and an individual to me, and they're not running together at all, which can be so easy to do in a story with so many characters. I also love like the scene we're setting, like the stakes we're setting. Everything feels so good. I'm also extra excited to get to the above part because like that's just I think gonna be really cool to see. So far I haven't seen a lot of comparisons. Like I don't know how this is connected to Conform. There was a mention of the word conform and I was like, ooh, but like I can't pinpoint Conform in this yet, but I will follow up, I guess, as I continue reading, because I know there's a lot of questions of whether you can read this before you read Conform, since publication order is Conform and then this. So I'll let you know. But honestly, I'm just obsessed and I want to keep reading. It's also been, I think, roughly 4 hours. I want to say it's 8 p.m. currently. So I'm making really good progress. And really my plan was to only read until around like 9 tonight and then go like chill in bed. But this is why I'm saying like it's just kind of like chill and I'm doing whatever the frick I want to do. I might end up reading till like 10 or 11. Like I might end up reading till 2 a.m. and that will be fine because that's what I'm in the mood to do, and we will just change up our reading plans for tomorrow or the next day based on what happens tonight. But overall, I just wanted to say I love this. I'm loving it so much. I really hope that it stays this trajectory. I've had so many books where I'm like, oh my god, I love the first half, and then the second half goes downhill, but I feel like I was loving this from the very first page, so I'm very hopeful. I can't see it changing. There's a lot about her her PTSD in this. She has a lot of trauma from like how she got to the place we've gotten at. Also, I think it's really unique for a dystopian story to talk about what this is. This is like the start of the dystopian almost. Like we are seeing characters who like lived through the inciting incidents that made the world become dystopian. I feel like a lot of times we're already reading a very set up dystopian world because we're gonna see the downfall. It's hard because like we know from Conform being a dystopian romance, we may not see the downfall in this, but like dystopian also always has the downfall. So I'm really interested to see it all like come together, but I'm finding this really, really unique in its like setup of like where it is in the journey of a dystopian story. I'm just crawling into bed. It's 10 o'clock. I'm not quite done reading yet. I think I'll probably have another about half an hour, 45 minutes in me with this light on, and then I'll probably call it quits for the night. Made pretty good progress. We actually read for roughly around like 6 hours-ish, 7 hours-ish tonight. And so we can take that out of our total for the next couple days. I'm assuming I will also read something in the morning. I probably have to swap books because it'll probably be something that's ebook so that I can read it just like when I wake up, because I wake up like 2 hours earlier than Nick, and I typically lay in bed and just like read on my Kindle or on my phone, but I don't have the ebook for this. I am resisting purchasing it. I'm an ebook reader. I buy a lot of ebooks. I try to use my library. I really need to get a Kobo so that I can read library books on my Kobo because I can't read them on my Kindle, and I don't like the library app either to read things from. I wonder if the Kobo app would be better. I should try that because I do read a lot on the Kindle app on my phone, so I wonder if I could get the Kobo app and send library books to my Kobo app, because that would be life-changing. I hate the formatting on the library app, so I don't read a lot of ebooks from my library. I do sometimes, but like I prefer having them either from KU or ARCs or purchasing them or whatever. But I have been thinking about a Kobo for a while. I'm really thinking about one for library format, since in Canada you can't read library books on a Kindle. Besides the point, I'm resisting buying this in ebook format because I just want to read it all night in bed. This does prevent me a little bit because like this thing's heavy to hold up and I need a light and someone has to go to bed next to me eventually. Well, I mean, he doesn't have to, but he probably wants to, and it's probably better for me if he does as well. You know, they talk about the man cold, but have you ever experienced a man with no sleep? Just saying. This is mentally working so well for me. I woke up this morning very excited to continue reading, and normally when I'm doing something like this, it's really sad, but often I wake up and I'm like stressed that I haven't already started reading, that I slept in too much, that I laid in bed for too long, and I just like start the day off on like not the greatest mood because I'm like, well, like I've already wasted time. But since I know that I read for 7 hours already, I only have to do what, like 9 hours today, 8 hours tomorrow, and I will easily achieve 24 hours. I feel like there's no pressure, there's no need for me also to be on sprints constantly and stuff like that. And I didn't realize how much that drained me when I did things like this. I was starting to think that 24 hours, 48-hour readathons just weren't for me. But I think it was actually that I was doing them in a way that wasn't working. I was putting a lot more pressure, even like the pressure on a video, because after I did a 24 or 48-hour readathon, it was typically live, it was public, it was with everyone, we had sprints, everyone was included, everyone was reading with us, and I felt this pressure that I put on myself to get my video out as soon as possible so that people were still like with the hype, you know? I'm just stirring my syrup and sprinkled sugar in. And I know I'm going to get comments saying, you don't have to feel that pressure. We would have watched it whenever it came out. But innately, my stats don't lie in the back end of things, that when we did things like that, they did get better watch time. They did get better engagement when they came out faster. So I would be reading for 48 hours. I'd be live for 48 hours. I would wake up Monday morning as early as possible to edit the entire video and get it out, take thumbnail pics, do all of that. And it was just a lot of work for me. And I think it had me not loving doing these. I shouldn't say that. that, because I still will do 48-hour readathons that are like that, because it's a different type of fun, it's a different type of experience. But I find what I like about those is the community aspect. I like the live sprints and stuff. And for this one, it's actually more about the reading for me. And maybe as I learn that I like this style, as I do this more, maybe I'll be able to implement some of the things that I'm thinking about right now into how I do those things. Maybe I can take the pressure off of them in some way, because I do love doing them. It's so much fun experiencing like all the weird giggles and the weird tangents we go off to on those sprints whenever I do those things. Like, I love doing 48-hour readathons like that. I just think I'm also going to love doing things like this, because I woke up this morning and I was like, I want to read. And there have been readathons where I felt that too. I think enjoying your book just innately helps that feeling. But considering I've been in a reading slump, this feeling feels so new to me. It feels so joyous, and I'm really excited to continue beneath. I do wish I was farther into the book, having thought that I've read for 7 hours, but I'm also trying to skip that thought in my brain. I'm trying to teach my brain to skip over that, because why do we put so much pressure on ourselves for something that's supposed to be fun? And I know a lot of people talk about like making something a job sometimes takes the fun out of it, and that's so valid and so true, because I have to start thinking about how many books should go in a vlog, how often I should be reading. It's not just like I can read when I want to read. And again, I'll get comments being like, you can do that, we'll watch whatever. This is my job, this is my full-time income, like this is what keeps this household getting groceries. So I don't have the luxury of just never picking up a book. I don't have that luxury, and that is what can ruin a hobby. And I will say I've had it ruin hobbies for me in the past. I used to love photography. I don't really do photography anymore because I made it a job. I was a wedding photographer, and something about that burnt me out so hard, and now I don't really like doing it. I hate when people ask me to take pictures of them a lot of the times now. I'm doing everything in my power to protect the peace that is this hobby that I love, and I feel like I'm doing that well. I feel like every single time I feel like I need a break, I've been very honest. I feel like I've been very honest on my channel. I've broken down about how I've been feeling, and I'm just trying to keep the peace for a hobby that I love, and I think I'm doing it. I don't think in any way I've lost the love of hobby. The thing is, I love content creation. That's probably my main hobby. I love doing things like this. I love exploring new types of videos. I love posting reels. I really love content creation. I love reading too, but content creation fills my soul. It fills my cup in a way that no other hobby does. And so I think that is why that it'll also be something I can never burn out on. And I think what really burnt me out of photography, we're just like getting real here this morning, is actually the comparison game, which I don't do on BookTube. I have never felt more included in a group of people. I've never felt more congratulated. Like I reached 23,000 and people automatically saw and wished me like happy 23,000, congratulations. And I feel like we all just collectively do that to everyone. I've never met someone who wasn't welcoming in this community. I'm not sitting here comparing my stats to other people's stats. I just kind of live in my own little bubble, and I'm happy to make friends and stuff. And that was something that I ended up feeling like I struggled with in photography, was my self-worth in comparing things to other people. Like, was my work good enough? Why did this person get more likes than I did? And I think that's what really burnt me out of it in the end, is that this love became more than just taking pictures. And I have never felt that way about YouTube and BookTube, even through the worst burnout I've ever been in my life. So yeah, that's our little tangent, but it's time to start reading today. I read 7 hours, I think is what I said. I read 6.5 last night, and I read for about half an hour this morning, and Nick was laughing at me last night because there were definitely tears happening. The emotions are running high in this book. It's so good. I can't wait to get back to it. Yearning. I always said I wanted Yearning, but this is heartbreaking. Oh my god. Fuck. Six stars. 7 stars. 8 stars. All of the damn stars. Oh my god. I think I need a second to wrap my brain around this, and then we will yap and we will start something new. But I'm gonna read the acknowledgements and I'm going to process everything that just happened. Part of me is like, reread it right now. Like, reread it right now, because everything that happened at the end, there was so much information, so many things happened. I'm slightly confused about some things, but I think it'll be clear once I sit on it, you know? Oh my god. Welcome to my bedroom where there's no furniture because furniture is expensive. So we literally just have Nick's dresser that I want to get rid of. But like, furniture is too expensive. But I literally just made my bed. I had lost an AirPod in it last night. I fell asleep with my AirPods in and I woke up and one was nowhere to be found. So I had to take my bed apart to find it. I tend to do that very often. So I just made my bed. So I was like, oh, I'll just yap in here before I do whatever I'm gonna do for the next couple hours in the evening. I of course finished Beneath. I feel like I haven't really processed my thoughts on this. I tend to want to like sit overnight on thoughts before I come to a vlog and talk about them. I rarely ever just like word vomit my thoughts as soon as I'm finishing, but I do feel like when I do these readathons, it feels like I should, because I want to get on to the next book as soon as possible. I'm giving this 5 stars. This could be one of my favorite books I've ever read. I think it could become one of my favorite series. This has a very, very deep tone of depression in it, of self-sabotage. There is a lot about grief, how people handle their grief, how people handle their trauma. There was a war. These humans were part of a war. They're living underground now in the after effects of this war, but every single character within this story went through something in this war. They experienced something. And the way that this book took grief on, humanity on, depression on, traumatic experiences on, how we handle our PTSD, how we handle our trauma, and wrapped it into this book was amazing. I felt very seen very often in this book as someone who runs away from my problems very often. And I feel like there are so many other things that people would be seen by in this story. Every character handled their issues different, which is very true to humanity. So I feel like someone could be seen in this book no matter what. Not even every way that our main character acted was relatable to me, but some of them were. And I feel like I just innately understood her character so well. If you liked the military aspect of Fourth Wing, this military academy with these squads that become found family because they're forced to rely on each other, they're forced to trust each other, they're forced to find companionship in a setting that is not set up for them to find companionship. I think you will also enjoy this. One of the best found families that I have read. It was pre-established in a lot of ways, which I think made it stronger. Every single character in this book felt like a character off page. I felt like I could have a conversation with them and that I knew what they would answer or like how their reactions would be. And the characters carried this book for me, which was a shock, a surprise, because if I told you about my feelings on Conform, the characters did not stand out for me. I loved the discussions in that. I loved the unique take it took on dystopian, and I loved where the plot went in that, but the characters fell flat. The romance in that felt flat. I didn't care about any of the romances in this. This one had multiple men that I was salivating for. Our love interest, Tristan, he is not my typical love interest. I don't even think he's the typical love interest that we see in romantasy, and he is amazing. His patience, but also the way he takes everything on his shoulders and just who he was as a person, incredible. In a lot of ways actually kind of reminds me of Xaden, which is kind of crazy as I'm saying that like this isn't your typical romance thing, and I think it's because there's no enemies to lovers in this. There's no like dark man. Like, he is not dark, he is not doing the wrong things, he is fighting for good, he's fighting for freedom. He is really the man that we should all fall in love with in real life too, and I loved him. And then Levi, this is not a love triangle. I feel like I need to put a disclaimer there, as far as I know at least, but Levi was a side character of my dreams. The friendship that was built, the moments with him, the way he just was, every scene that we got with Levi I was excited for. Honestly, I was excited for every scene in this book because every scene happened with characters that I enjoyed. Even like this one character they introduced way later into the book felt so real to me. It felt like all of these characters existed. I felt like all of these characters had a life beyond when this book started, and that's something I feel like I'm really looking for these days. But back to to Levi. I just loved him. I love Levi. Kind of the way I felt like Carrion carried Quicksilver. I loved Levi. Like, I love Levi the way I love Carrion, which means maybe I need to name something after Levi for next Realmathon, because a whole city was named after Carrion for Realmathon. So yeah, I loved this. I don't have a lot of words. There's so many things that I think will be beautiful in this. Dystopian romance is incredible. I love where this was in dystopian. Also, I stand by the fact that you can read this before reading Conform. There is nothing in this book for me that spoils Conform. Couple Easter eggs here and there, but nothing that is going to hinder your experience reading either of these. I know that people are going to talk about there's something that happens, but having read Conform, my response was no different to having if I hadn't read this. And I'm a big person who likes to fight for the fact that you can read books in any order. I feel like there are too many people on the internet who tell you there's only one correct way to read things, and publication is Conform and then this and then core, but they read separately. You can read them separately. You can read Conform first if you're worried about it, but you don't have to be worried about it. I will fight for the fact that you can read this one without Conform if this sounds better to you, and this is the better book. I like Conform. It was a 4-star read, but this was incredible. I don't know how more people are talking about this. This is so underrated now. Incredible, amazing. Ugh. Chef's Kiss. I feel like it's like Fourth Wing meets Silver Elite in a lot of ways, and I love both of those books. So yeah, incredible. And then while I was experiencing the after effects of this book, which I will say was something really incredible about doing the 24-hour readathon this way, is I know that I am roughly 12 hours in at the end of reading this, and a little bit more of what I'm going to tell you in the next clip, but I roughly have only 12 hours left of reading time, and I can easily do that over tonight and tomorrow. So I went and I watched an episode of TV. I doom scroll. I actually probably am gonna watch another episode of TV, make dinner, just chillax and not be stressed about reading, which is really good for my brain, because often when I do these things, I feel the need to start a book right after because I'm trying to get as many books read as possible within the time period. And I'm someone who just needs to exist in a book sometimes. Like, starting books is so much harder for me, and I like to live with my characters a little bit longer, and I just finished this and was like, I don't know how I move on from this. So it's really nice that I felt like I had the time and the capability to sit down and do some other stuff, and I didn't feel like pressured into doing anything. Obviously, this is always personal pressure that I'm putting on myself, but it is things that were there and that I've enjoyed about doing this process a little bit differently. However, while I was in the middle of finishing Beneath, I ended up starting Clockwork Angel because I made myself some lunch, I made myself some ramen, and it was about 30 minutes, and so I was like, oh, perfect time to put on an audiobook. So this worked really well, and a couple times that I've gotten up and done stuff around the house, I have been listening to it. So I'm currently almost done chapter 4, so we can put me at chapter 5. And one thing I know about Cassandra Clare is her chapters are long, so even though chapter 5 doesn't feel like a long way in, I bet you I'm a long way in. Yeah, I'm already 100 pages in. Now this feels very different from the Mortal Instruments. This series is set between book 3 and 4 in the Mortal Instruments, but I have finished the Mortal Instruments. Well, not set. This book was published between books 3 and 4. However, it's set as a prequel. And so this does feel different in a lot of ways. It's got a bit more of a historical setting, which I personally am not loving. And there are a lot of like our main character being a little bit more religious than Clary was, and I'm not sure I'm loving that. However, the male characters we're being introduced to, I'm obsessed with. I love their humor, their banter, their wittiness, and I feel like as Tessa warms up and grows into herself, I'm really gonna like her because her moments of sass have been really good, and she feels a lot less naive compared to what Clary was in the Mortal Instruments. I'm unsure how I'm gonna feel about relearning the entire world again, because just like Clary, Tessa has no idea what this Shadowhunter world is. She's never heard of them, and so we have to experience the world again with her. I think what's going to be interesting about that is, since this is a prequel, things are different now than they were in the Mortal Instruments, because it's a good amount of difference between them. I want to say it's like 100 years at least. I could be wrong. It could be more than that. It doesn't really say. So I'm interested to see the differences that have happened and how what happens in this story affected what happened in the Mortal Instruments and things like that. But I will say I might bounce around, and I might also pick up Bloodbound just because I might want to save the audiobook a little bit for this when I want to do stuff around the house, because that seems to be working instead of just like sitting down and binging my way through this. But I don't really have anything to do currently that is just like audiobook. Like, I don't have a game I'm playing on my Switch or anything that's really good for audiobooks. I don't have a crochet thing that I'm working on. I could color, but honestly it's cold in my house house because our furnace is off because it's summer, but it's been really rainy and gross out. So it's really cold today and I just kind of want to like lay in bed or like not have my hands out in coloring, which is kind of crazy to say. So I'm not sure I really want to do a task that requires an audiobook right now, but I know I'm gonna have to make dinner. I know I'm going to probably have to do some tasks around the house. I need to empty the dishwasher and stuff, and this will be really good for that. So I'm like, do I start Bloodbound and kind of just like duo read them and read this one on my Kindle, because I do have the Kindle copy, and then listen to this when I have moments, or do I just dive into this? I am typically someone who likes to read one book and then read another book. It works better for my brain, but I'm just very hesitant right now and I don't know why. But like part of me just wants to savor this book a little bit. But I think it's because I wish that I could go back and reread Beneath. Like, I'm still thinking about this book. I'm still like, what if I just reread the last 100 pages because it was so good? And I'm mad that the next book doesn't come out for so long, because the next book we get in this is Core, which is the sequel to Conform, which also left off on a pretty big cliffhanger. So I'm glad we got that. But like, I want to know what happened in Unit 7. I want to know. Okay? I'm having dilemmas and issues, but these are all 5-star predictions. So what if I give every book I read this weekend 5 stars? What if, you know? I don't know what I'm doing though. I have some serious girl dinner happening tonight. I debated ordering food because Nick's away, and so I was like, oh, I get sushi or like seafood or something he doesn't want. But honestly, I've spent a lot of money this month already. I've been buying a lot of clothes. I think the nicer weather has made me want to get like some summer sets and some summer clothes. I've gained some weight over the past couple of years. Definitely don't have any like jean shorts or things like that that fit me, but I also don't really enjoy wearing those. So I just kind of have been spending money on things, and I probably shouldn't have. So instead we have girl dinner. We have chicken nuggies, we have overcooked matzo sticks, and we have some craft dinner to eat. And I'm going to take a little reading break and watch some Real Housewives of Potomac because I realized I never finished that season. And I said that I'm taking a reading break, but I feel like I haven't read that much. I think I've read for like another hour only since last time we talked. However, the audiobook is going really quickly, so I am speeding through Clockwork Angel because I'm not somebody who pauses audiobooks at the end of the chapter for some reason. I read to the end of the chapter when physically reading, like I feel like I can't stop. However, when it comes to audiobooks, that doesn't happen for me. I am somewhere in chapter 10, so I'm roughly like 230 pages in. Like, I have been flying through this. I think I'm halfway through this book. I'm very disappointed, I'm not going to lie. I don't think this is going to be the 5-star I thought it was going to be. I am so happy that I made the choice to stop listening to other people who told me I needed to read this between book 3 and 4, and I listened to what I wanted, and I read book 4 of The Mortal Instruments, and I didn't go into this series. I think my feelings on this right now are cementing that I did the right decision. Each reader is different. If you're someone who doesn't like spoilers ever, don't listen to me and read this before book 4. But I will say the number one thing carrying me through this book right now is knowing where everything ends up, because the end of The Mortal Instruments does spoil a lot of this series, and I'm like intrigued to see things. I'm waiting for characters to show up. When there was a character that just showed up in this book, I was automatically like clocked her and was like, this is interesting. This is very different than the character we knew in Mortal Instruments. And that has been the most exciting thing for me. I kind of hate Tessa, and every time I've heard anyone talk about this series, it was how much they love Tessa as a main character, and so I feel like I should hide. I thought she felt smarter than Clary, and I think she feels smarter than Clary, but she definitely feels like she has less agency than Clary. It's so hard not to compare these two books together because they are the same world, they are the same writer, they are like companion series in a way. And I'm not a Clary fan necessarily. I think I loved The Mortal Instruments for the other characters, but I like Clary more than I like Tessa. I hate that Tessa has no agency. She just feels like she's there, she's existing. I feel like Clary fought for what she wanted. She fought to be a part of conversations. She fought to understand some things better. She wanted to make sure Simon was okay. She wanted to follow Jason to things. She felt stubborn. I feel like she had a lot of agency to her, and I'm struggling with Tessa, who just feels like she's going along for the ride. And I think part of that is we are discussing a lot of like where females lie in society, and this is set in the past, so it is a bit of a time where like men work, females don't, and she has grown up with this mentality. And now going into the Shadowhunter world, that's not what happens in the Shadowhunter world. Like, women fight and stuff in it, but I'm kind of sick of hearing about it. I feel like every couple pages there's a line about it. And then I just feel like because this is how she was set up, this is how she grew up, this is what has been instilled to her, she's kind of falling into some of those roles. I'm sure we're gonna see her get more badass as the series goes on, especially because I know some things. But at the current state of her character, I don't dislike her. I guess I shouldn't say that I dislike her. I just feel no type of way for her. And I feel like I don't care about her and I'm more interested in other things. I get more excited when I get a POV that's not her. And I do need to remind myself that the Mortal Instruments book 1, I gave City of Bones only 3 stars. I ended up loving the series, ended up so emotionally attached to it. Book 1 and 2, I was like, do I like this? Like, I was very unsure at the end of City of Bones. So I'm hoping this becomes that, but I don't love the setting. I don't really like the historicalness. And the other thing I'm finding that I'm struggling a little bit with this is it feels a little more quirky. There's like quirky characters. There's like a lot of comedic relief in a way that I don't like. Like there's this character that feels like out to lunch constantly. Actually, there's 2 characters that feel very out to lunch all the time, and I don't find that very funny. I don't find it very charming, and I think I'm supposed to. Versus I found the comedic relief being like sarcasm and stuff in the Mortal Instruments much more my vibe. So I'm a little bit nervous, and it's so hard not to compare these two. It really is. But it's such an easy read. I'm flying through this. I'm done this in no time. I'm liking it. I feel like I'm complaining a lot about it. It's so hard considering I had such high expectations for this because everyone says this is their favorite series. And then also I just came off of having a 5-star all-time favorite read, and then also I had just read the last book in the Mortal Instruments and given that 5 stars and felt some sort of way about it. Really, I'm thinking right now, why did I choose to eat chicken nuggets while reading a book in this world? Because if you know, you know. If you watched me read the last book of the Mortal Instruments series, I probably shouldn't eat chicken nuggets while reading this, but you know, some choices were made. I'm hoping to love this more as it goes on, as we see more characters. I'm waiting for a very specific character to show up, I think. And I'm intrigued of where this could go because of everything I know, I guess. So that's it. But we're gonna watch some TV, mostly because my ears don't want to have AirPods in them right now. I struggle with headphones and I just want these out of my ears so badly. I forgot to press start on this earlier. Guess I'm not doing the dishwasher. Okay, we just did a little bit of a nighttime routine because I think I'm calling it quits on reading for the night. I might read a chapter here and there in bed, but I think I'm just going to watch TV and then I'm going to pick back up in the morning. I have, I think, roughly 10 hours to do tomorrow, which is working out perfectly because I think I have 2 to 3 hours left in the audiobook for this. And then while I was watching Real Housewives tonight, since I had the ebook, I decided to pick up Bloodbound. I don't want to say start because I started Bloodbound last month actually, and I got farther in than I thought I had gotten. I picked up my ebook and I was about 10% in. I fell really quickly back into the story. The reason that I put this down had just been like other things going on. It didn't work with vlogs. My brain was not braining and wasn't letting me read when I wanted to read, and it just wasn't good timing for me as a mood reader. I'm happy to say it didn't. My cat is playing with a ball. I'm sorry if you can hear it. This is like their playtime. For some reason, when I get into bed, they get the zoomies. But I'm happy to say that I have been enjoying this already. I've read another 10% probably tonight. So I'm roughly 100 pages in and I feel like a lot is happening. I have complaints about this book. I hate whenever I complain about things because then I feel like it doesn't seem like I like them. But I sometimes feel like me having complaints is a good thing because I'm trying to just like figure out a story. It doesn't mean that I didn't like it. I have complaints about 5-star reads, but I do think this reads a little younger. The writing style is a little awkward too, in my opinion. This isn't YA. It's just like the tone of the writing reads a lot like a YA author would, but I don't think this is meant to be YA at all. And I also think the setup of the 2 girls just instinctively reminds me of YA because a lot of fantasy that I read, a lot of romantasy I read is two POVs with a male POV and then a female POV or multi-POV'd and not just following two young women. Now there are some that do that. Zodiac Academy kind of does that. It eventually like branches out and stuff. But a lot of this does feel the way that like YA fantasy that I loved feels. However, I do think it's meant for more adult audiences. I think there's going to be smut and stuff. Every single author I see on the back is an adult author that blurbed this, and I think that typically says a lot. I feel like there's a lot going on. It at times feels messy. There's a lot in the world building, a lot of unexplained things. I'm unsure about a lot of things. I'm only 100 pages in though, and I think that mess could become brilliance, especially because like I'm interested. My interest is very, very piqued. I want to know what's happening. I think around chapter 8, I was shocked by something. I actually didn't see that thing coming, and then I was like, okay, I'm in for the ride and I'm in for where the story's about to go. This follows two young girls. One of them is an heir to a kingdom. In the rules of this kingdom, every generation, the firstborn heirs have to battle it out and unalive the other one, and whoever wins gets access to the heart, which is a big power source in here and has a lot of knowledge. The one kingdom, the kingdom of witches, really needs this power. Like their kingdom is suffering because of something called a blight, and the other kingdom isn't, and they're like, we need to win this one because our country is going to go extinct. Like we will go extinct without help from the heart and the magic and all of this other stuff. However, their heir is powerless and she's about to duel the most powerful dragon riding prince that this kingdom has seen in a long time. That setup right there had me instantly intrigued. And the second we met the prince, I was like, yes. And then there's like a ball scene and I was like, yes. So I really liked that aspect. And then our other main character is a young girl kind of living on the street. She makes her money right now by being part of this like troupe that does like some stunts. She does like the knife throwing. However, her best friend goes missing and he is blooded, which is who has the magic in this society. And so most likely someone found out he was blooded and the guards took him and recruited him into the war, and she's trying to figure out what happened, where her best friend went. And obviously their paths are going to cross at some point. I'm hoping for a really good friendship because I do believe that this is a cis romance. So I am really hoping that we get a really beautiful female friendship that comes to be in this. I would love that. I won't say no to a sapphic romance either. However, my first scene of that prince has me really wanting him to be a romantic partner. I don't have a lot of complaints other than what I already said, but I do think one of my other complaints, I need to check in this because the ebook I have is an ARC copy, so it's uncorrected, but there is an animal companion in this, and when it talks in my ARC, I can't tell because it talks in her head and it's not like italicized or underlined or bolded or anything. And so I have to like do a double take sometimes when a line feels random and realizing it's the animal companion that's talking. However, I'm assuming that this is fixed in the physical edition. Okay, yes, if I'm looking at the physical edition, it looks like whenever an animal companion talks, it's all in capitals. Other than that, I don't have a lot of thoughts. Probably read more of this in the morning before I talk to you because I'll probably read in bed for a bit. I'm joining Mel's sprints in the morning because she has sprints for Escape the Readathon, which I'm also co-hosting. My team currently is doing a prompt that I can't participate in, so I'm saving all my books for pages from this weekend, so whenever we unlock the room that we're going towards, I'm just going to be using pages, and that's exciting because I think I'll have a decent amount of pages to submit to help my team. Escape the Readathon is a competitive team-based readathon that is run by Alexi. It's a lot of fun and you should check it out. I'll have the announcement video link down below for you, and I'll probably explain it a little bit more later when I have to submit my pages. But honestly, I want to go to bed. I want to curl up in this blanket, finish the reunion episodes of Real Housewives of Potomac, and zonk. I'm so excited. I had the entire bed to myself because Nick's away. And I love my boyfriend. I love him with all my heart. But the one thing I do miss is sleeping in my bed alone. I sleep in the guest room actually quite often because I'm up late. I like to watch TV and Nick doesn't. And just to undisturb him, I will go sleep in the guest room. However, this is my bed. This is the bed I took from my house. It's a queen. The one in there is from Nick's house and I don't like it very much. But he always gets my bed. because he's in bed first. So I'm very excited that tonight it's just me and my kitty cats in this big old bed of mine. It's really rude that I bought all these cute clothes for summer and it's been cold recently. I was like, oh, I'm gonna wear this really cute like plaid shorts and my cat cowboy shirt, but I was cold, so I needed a sweater. So I'm back in this cardigan that's really comfy. Looking at the day plan, okay? I'm currently listening to Clockwork Angel. I'm going into chapter 14. There was a scene that we just got that I really enjoyed. I feel like Tessa finally had like a little bit more like spunk to her. She kind of like told them how it is. She like talked back to them. Did you just see that? The book sabotaged me. Anyways, I liked that quite a bit. Okay, this is chapter 15, but it's good enough because I'll probably be there soon anyways. But I do think that this is not the prequel series that I like, especially after having just had like The Hive Beneath, which is also a prequel series. What I liked about this one was it felt completely different to the first one. And I was like, how do we get to the point of that series? Like, how are we gonna get there? I was still learning new things because the setting of this and Conform are so different. Versus in this one, I'm learning about all the same stuff again that I already learned about in the Mortal Instruments. This could be really fascinating in a new type of story, I think. But because it's just like, oh, I'm learning about these vampire factions again. I'm learning about the Shadowhunter world and the rules that how it exists because our main character doesn't know any of that. I'm kind of left a little bit more bored because I'm like, well, I already know all this stuff. Like, I don't care to relearn it, if that makes sense. Where I feel like this would work so much better for me if it had been a character that felt very different to where Clary started. Like if it was a character who kind of knew about the Shadowhunter world already or like something like that. But instead we have two characters who are thrown into the Shadowhunter universe, not knowing anything. They're told they're special. They're looking for a family member and they find a bit of a found family. I will say the found family aspects are lacking in this to me compared to the Mortal Instruments. I think that's something that I really loved about the Mortal Instruments. All these pre-established relationships that we get to see that felt so strong. They are here in this one, but they feel a lot more complicated almost. Like they don't feel ride or die in this. The way in the Mortal Instruments, it felt ride or die. Like all of those characters were doing anything for each other. Clary had one, the Lightwoods were one, even their parents, they felt ride or die. And in this one, it just feels a little bit more messy than that. We have characters who seem to like not 100% be happy with their placement and stuff. And I think we will get to the found family aspect, but I just feel like it was stronger off the bat in the Mortal Instruments. It's so hard not to compare the two. I really am comparing them quite a bit. Not to say this book is bad, like I'm enjoying it. It's such an easy listen, but I think I just was expecting amazing 5 stars. If I have my math correctly, based on the Audible time that I have left in this, and then the time my Kindle is telling me that I have left in Bloodbound, that will be the full 10 hours that we need to read today. And so I'm gonna probably not keep as much track of time because I think the goal is just to finish these. I think it goes like 30 minutes early. I didn't actually plan that. It just kind of happened with my reading speed and what happened yesterday that this worked out perfectly, but I should be able to finish both of these books just like right over top of the 24 hours, which is good enough for me. And it takes having to like think about the time out of my brain, because that was something I do think I struggled a little bit, is having to look at the time and feeling like my reading had to be worth it. Specifically last night, like I typically am someone who like watches TV while I read. Sometimes like I'll watch Real Housewives and read while I'm watching, and so I'm reading very slowly because I'm also paying attention to the TV and things like that, or I'll like get up and do things and stuff. And the whole idea was that I wanted to let myself do that in this readathon, which I did, but it definitely was like, oh, I wasn't reading for a full hour, do I count that as an hour, and things like that. So I like that I kind of just know that when I finish these I'll be at the full 24 hours. I think that will work really well for my brain. Just another book making me cry. Why do I like books with emotional turmoil so much? Oh, it just started pouring. Oh, I can smell the rain. I literally just opened a window like 30 minutes ago. I love the smell of the rain. I've also been doom scrolling instead of reading, which is probably very relatable. We're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Ugh, I have really big, beautiful windows behind you and I can just see the rain coming down. It's gonna be so refreshing, but I do think my neighbors were having people over outside in their backyard. So hopefully they didn't get soaked because it feels like it came out of like nowhere. I have 4.5 hours left in Bloodbound and probably an hour left in Clockwork Angel. So that's how long I have left before the end of this readathon. I can't believe it worked out so perfectly. I am unsure about Bloodbound. I feel like I'm intrigued, but also could easily put it down, aka the doom scrolling that's been happening. Like I literally just have it open to a page because I was just like, oh, I'll pick up my phone for a second and then doom scrolled. This is a story about friendship, apparently. There is a author's letter in the beginning of my ARC copy that talks about how these two authors are long distance friends who met and decided they wanted to write a story about like their friendship and girl power, you know? However, I'm 50% in, like I'm 51% into this book and we've barely gotten any scenes of them together. We've barely seen this friendship that we've been talking about. And when we do get scenes of them in together, I'm here for it. Like I like it, but I just feel like they're so far and few between. And then also I want to say that this is supposed to be a dragon story. Like they also talk about how they wanted to write like a dragon fantasy together. And the lack of dragons is also kind of criminal. We have had some dragon scenes, but not nearly enough in my opinion to count this as like a dragon girl power fantasy. It feels YA to me, and maybe I won't think that as I continue. The characters I think are supposed to be like 22, 23. I don't know. There's like a reference to when they were 18. I want to say the girls read like 15 to me and the men read like 17, 18-ish. Oh, my Kindle just turned off on me. That's how long it's been since I turned a page. I'm feeling really called out right now. It's fine. It's only, what time is it? It's only 5:30. I have plenty time to finish 5 hours of reading still. Oh, that puts me kind of late. Oh, I didn't mean for that to happen. I've doom scrolled too much. It's fine. Everything's fine. I'll stop yapping, and I'll read again. Oh, I look tired. It's because I am. This book took me a lot longer to finish than expected. I actually am past my 10 hours today, and so we are calling it a wraps in the 24-hour readathon, but I finished this. I have very mixed feelings on it. I actually think I might sleep on my thoughts on this because I literally just finished it a second ago, and I'm very, very conflicted with it. There are a lot of things I didn't like, but something really kept me turning the pages in this. Something had me intrigued. I cried a couple times. I cared about the ending of this book. I kind of hated the ending of this book, but also left me so intrigued, so I loved it at the same time. I'm having a lot of mixed feelings on this book. Maybe I don't need to sit out my feelings. Maybe I just need to talk them out with you. I loved the friendship we ended up getting. However, it almost felt insta-lovey. I fear it went 0 to 100 real quick. Around the 50% mark, we started to get moments of them together and it just spiraled. Frankie? I need to check on my cat. Oh, that was a trap. I walked around the corner and he just lunged at me in like a playful way. He just like fully armed up and grabbed my leg, which he does every once in a while when he really wants to play. He tricked me. I'm gonna go play with them actually. But let's wrap this up. I just felt like the friendship went 0 to 100. We got little tidbits of it and then I wanted that, but then it became like so much. I understand why it happened. I actually understand their entire friendship and how they bonded and things like that. I just wish we had seen more of the friendship in the first half so it didn't feel so crazy of a jump in that second half, even though like I too would have bonded with this person. I felt that way about the romance too. I feel like we got little tidbits of it and then it just kind of jumped. I liked the romance quite a bit. I kind of just wish we had more scenes. I wonder if like some sort of like training setting or things like that would have worked a little bit more. There was just something really missing from the story for me to love it. It had so much potential. I'm giving it 3 stars. I think I'm gonna sit on this book. I don't think I'm gonna unhaul this book, and I can't commit to reading the sequel yet. I think this is gonna be one of those stories that I'm gonna put on my shelves, and in a couple months I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna be like, do I have interest in reading the sequel? Because I enjoyed it, but I'm not sure it's gonna stick with me the way a lot of other books do, and I'm not sure I'm going to want to continue this series. Afterwards, I kind of felt very similar to a Fate Forged in Fire. I liked this one better. When I read Fate Forged in Fire, I was like, there were really good elements to this, and I kept reading, but then 3 months later I ended up unhauling it because I had no interest in picking up the sequel. Now I hope that doesn't happen because I think this book is stunning. I really like this cover, I really like this edition, and I really liked a lot of aspects. I liked having a story about female friendship. I really did. There were some really heartbreaking scenes, some heartbreaking moments in this. I wish we had more side characters. I wish we saw more of the world, I guess. I wish that a plot line with the love interest was like better set up with more characters and stuff. I wish that we saw a lot more than what we did. I wish we had better scenes with characters. I just feel like everything in this book felt good but could have been great. And I'm not sure that at this point in time I could say I recommended this book to people. I honestly think I would wait to see if a sequel is better, but also books need people to purchase them and try them or else they might not get sequels, so that's also hard to say. If anything I said interests you, I guess I say try it. The zooms are real. But I mean, it also is hard coming off the 5-star that was Beneath. And I will say I do think that this was holding my attention a little bit better than Clockwork Angel, and I was liking this as well. I am gonna finish this. I'm just not gonna finish this in this vlog. You actually probably won't see it in a vlog. I don't think I have anything up and coming that I have a vlog planned that I could like put this in, so it'll just have to go into a wrap up or something, or you'll hear me kind of talk about my thoughts when I pick up the second book, because I will continue on in the series no matter what. Like, I do know I plan on continuing on in this. I'm feeling like this will be a 3-star, but like a very enjoyable 3-star. I gave the first book in the Mortal Instruments also 3 stars. However, if I could scream more about Beneath, I would. This is one of my favorite books that I've read in a long time. I have, recency bias does get me at the end of the year, I will say that, but I have read 8 5-stars out of the 32 books I've read this year, and I think that this is top, if not really close to the top of the list. It's hard to pick favorites. Rose in Chains really does call to me, but this was incredible, and I need more people to talk about this. I need to do like an underhyped romance-y, even though this is dystopian and not romance-y at all, but underhyped romance-y rec list or something and put this on, because I need someone to read this. I feel that this romance is the closest I have felt to how I felt in House of Bane and Blood, even though they're very different, but the way I rooted for these two was superior. So anyways, thank you for hanging out with me for a whole weekend, but for reading for 24 hours, because we were successful on that. I actually think I did go over that in the end. It really took me a long time to read Bloodbound, and we're not going to talk about it. Also, when it comes to Escape the Readathon, I will be submitting all of these tomorrow as soon as I finish Clockwork Angels, because I only have some pages that I need to submit. I think this is roughly like 1,200 pages, so that's pretty exciting for me because I have been slumping so hard and not really helping my team. So I'm very excited that I can finally help them out a little bit. I'll leave the announcement video to Escape the Readathon on the screen if you would like to check it out. It's a really fun readathon that I do enjoy, and it's not too late to join. Sign up for the botanist. We will tell you that you grow, girl, when you do good. And if you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me some sort of blue emoji, maybe a blueberry for Beneath, and have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.